So I'm going live and I am actually going to shout out a conversation. And I realize that I've been kind of quiet about the conversation. And I'm going to go through the chapters of why. But in talking to other people, like there's this secret society of us that look at each other and we wave and we say hello and we hug each other and we ask each other how each other's business is doing and oh, they're fine. And then in whisper tones, it's like, so how do you deal with this? Or how did you find this? And so what somebody kind of mentioned or stated is I kind of wish that there was a bit more conversation about the role of a expat. I don't even want to say expat entrepreneur. I'm going to say that the role of an entrepreneur, when you're coming over into, Rwanda or motherland or whatever, because the way that I'm going to go with this conversation is there is just so many hard realities and open eyes and truths that we really do have to discuss. And I do feel as if, um, I'm not saying you can't attain your dreams. I am saying, baby, you gonna grind doing it. Like, honestly, when I go to the farm right now and I stand and I look across everything that's been accomplished, there's two things that go through my head. One is, what else do I still have to accomplish? Oh my gosh, what if this doesn't work? Or what if this doesn't work? Like there's this piece of paranoia of the future. But then there's also like this relief of like, I honestly can't believe I did this. I can't believe that this is done. And while people be like, oh my God, it's amazing, it's like, you have no clue how many times I have cried, traumatized, dealt with, had to argue, like the arguments that happen, there are arguments, had to and this is a big one, I had to repeat so many times the vision and the idea to the point where it's like, am I crazy for doing this? The self doubt because of I'm trying to do something that's innovative and people just look at me and they question because it's so traditional in way things that are done. So there should be a stronger conversation, I feel, talking to people who have built on the continent, who are new to the continent and the obstacles that are being faced. And I'm such a deep person that I just don't want it to be like, oh, the money or the time or anything else like that. I really want to get past the surface. Oh my God, I'm blowing up. Get past the surface and be able to talk about, okay, how do you identify with the communication barriers? How did you turn around and create something innovative? How did you create the stamina to continue going after this? How did you find the extra capital to be able to build these things and do these things? What did you do over lost capital? How did you turn around and prevent these things? Like one of my friends who is in the business has turned around and come up with a whole different way to write contracts because there was a lot of people who were not following by the contract. So instead of being um, dedicated to having to pay. Like he made sure that the contract was 100% something because he's been brought into people and had judgments always go his way. But like those are conversations we don't talk about. It's like, what are kind of things that you need to have in a contract if you're trying to do business, if you're trying to do such and such amount, because some things are not going to look the way you want it to look. Some contractors are not going to do things the way you want. You have to be very explicit. You have to make sure that you find somebody here in Rwanda who is a great right hand person who can understand your vision and can interpret it in that way. Um, and then I personally feel like, dude, it is just really blowing up right now. Give me a second. I personally feel like being a woman is another knock because when you're dealing in certain circles, they want to dismiss you or think that you're crazy. And I have found myself kind of like laughing at myself, like, yeah, I know it's the crazy Mazungle, but do what I said. Da, 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 because of just what you have to do in order to put your foot down. I do think that there's a territory of us figuring out what worked for us in the West and now having to figure out what's working for us where we are, because you have to realign in who yourself are as an entrepreneur. Or do you? And I only say that because at this point in time, I'm sorry, I'm spilling this out and people can, say what they want to say and do what they want to do. I just feel like, number one, we have to be honest about the real type of conversations when it comes to doing business. I would say someplace other than home, doing business someplace other than home, and how do you learn that, and having a pipeline to understanding certain things, um understanding like the timeliness thing, understanding like really, and I'm going to get into it, like just finding the type of help that can support you. And so the first piece that I'm going to sit there and say is that, yeah, it's so many little things. That's why I said I wish y'all were talking. It's just marketing is different out here. The things that you go to and what you usually would know, it does not work the same out here. Um, and I'll be honest with you, I started 365 Rhonda and I was like, bam, I'm gonna put all the information we have in one place and that's gonna work. Oh my God. It's such a great thing, but there's so much more to learn with guards. Like, okay, how do you make this a habit for people? How do you make this, tentative for somebody? And one of the slowest things that is just really irking me is like, I'm going to have to find somebody else who knows how to mine. Keyword is mine Facebook, mine Instagram, and find events. And even event promoters, where what this is for us in the West, people are always trying to promote. They're always trying to promote, promote, promote. So they have a new avenue, which is 100% free. They're going to put their stuff out and promote. That is not happening here because this is something new. So what's happening is that there's this avenue that hasn't been reached or hasn't been touched, that innovatively you have to come through and figure out. And some things that you really think and you'll take for granted don't always work that way. Out here, word of mouth is really key, like your image, your things, different things like that. So and it depends on who your clientele is. People are like, oh, I want to make sure that I'm available for the locals. Okay, so if you want to be available for locals, notice there's like three different levels of locals. But like if you're going local, they don't have data on their phone. They don't have, so how would they know about you? How would they, such and such, those different things. Like, so you have to become really, really creative. Oh my God. Sorry, I just got some information about something that's on a budget. I don't know how to say, oh, hex no, properly. Entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship. Jesus, Lord help. So no to number one. Woo, now I got to go back and reconfigure if this is, um, I got to go back and reconfigure if this is going to be part of the budget. Welcome. Because simple things like for me, it was, oh, flyers, like how we get those little promotional flyers. Remember back in the day when you be in the club, some of y'all still in the club, and they put the flyers on your window and stuff. So, number one, I really don't see a lot of flyers out here. You see a lot of digital posting and everything else like that because they will post. They post on Instagram, they post in the Facebook groups, but you don't see a lot of flyers. So I was like, okay, bam, I'm going to give flyers out. Flyers were basically $1 per sheet. And so I go to Vista Prints and I can get 500 for like $50. And so this is a new piece of, like, basically, do I call somebody, be like, yo, you coming over? Will you bring over 500 flyers? Or am I going to turn around and make that happen? Or do I get creative and do other things? And I understand why a lot of stuff is there. I understand why there's a signs, that are posted in different places to help people um, do something. Um, so to help that out. So when we talk about the truth of investing and building a business, I kind of alluded to things. I will say personally, I have been through burns. I have been through burns, and I'm going to shout out um, Jennifer Lewis for a quick second because Jennifer Lewis just did an article where she was scammed. Like some guy, fell in love with her, all this other stuff, and she found out he was a con artist and lying and everything else like that. And he had been doing this scam, and she was like with him for 4 years. And then she came out, and she was basically saying that as much as it hurt me and I'm embarrassed, I could not I knew it was my duty for it not to happen to other people. And so what happens is that we get a lot shamed by our bad decisions. And I felt like I definitely will talk about things. I definitely will warn you, but I also feel like there's a point of I get shamed by my bad decisions. And people don't get to realize that the reason why I'm so knowledgeable is because I made bad decisions. I've messed up. I've been called names. I've been doing all these things, and it takes a lot of toll on you. But how do you turn around and bring it positive and bring it back? And so I'm going to honestly say at this point in time, for me, and for people who come to ask about anything, that investing is not as easy as a checkbox. Investing is not as easy as one, two, three. Investing is hard. And I really, like I said, there's only one person at this point in time that I would be like, I can trust that person. And that's out of a lot of people and a lot of things that I've seen. And I'm going to give you my other one. And that person is not Rhonda. That's the reason why, because that person works with a moral code that is like mine. And but I'm going to sit there and say it's you have to be on the ground. You have to be on the ground. You have to physically go. You have to know your vision and you have to know your expectations from those visions. And you're going to have to know how to enforce those expectations. One of the key things I am going to give to everybody right now, and like I said, if I come and get snatched up, y'all know what happened. Jay Essence opened her mouth. I personally feel like the word investor. I'm looking for an investor. I'm looking for an investor. Like you hear it all the time. And when we hear the word investor, we go into one definition. But the word investor, I think, is being used interchangeably with the word loan. And you must know there is a difference. Many people are looking for money to be put into something with the promise of a payback. When we say investor, we're looking at percentages, we're looking at shareholding rights, we're looking at, type of thing. We're looking at it in a business way and, to put this here and not. I feel as if that a lot of people, when you really break down, if they're looking for an investor, like the first meeting is cool. And then when you get into the second or third meeting and you're like, and you have to be quiet. You need to ask them for their percentages. You need to ask them for their books. You need to ask them for their projections. You need to ask them for their marketing data. You need to ask them for these things. And you have to be quiet because we see potential, because there's so much potential. There's so much potential. But in some points, literally, it would be better for you to build the business versus investing in a business. And you have to know at what point that is, because you have to make sure you build a partnership with somebody who understands and has the same tenacity, grit, and grind that you have in order to make sure that something will happen. You're not investing in a company out here or a business, you're investing in the visionary behind that business. And do they have the gutso and wherewithal? And then I will also say, all from personal opinion, because I know nothing. I would not do 100% upfront. Mm-mm. I would do it in increments contingent upon certain things, baby. Um, the lessons I have learned, the lessons I have learned, the lessons I have heard. Um, Hello, Matthew. There's a lot of ATL in the house, and I'm going to have to get working. Hey, Dale. I know I say your name wrong, baby, but I love you, and I'll be seeing your messages. So thank you for the love and shout outs. What else can I say? Talking back to the conversations that we have, um, being transparent and honest, it is hard to find, and this is not an expat thing. This is even when I talk to my people who are Rwandese, who have a certain work ethic and they want to have certain things. Finding people who are aligned with that, and training people who are aligned with that. You really just have to search and find. And there are people out here who are really looking for good opportunities. So it's almost like dating. You have to put this out here and they have to find you. And when you guys match, you match. Oh my God, you match. But when you don't be staying around trying to deal with red flags. I can work with them. I can do this. You have to know who you are as an entrepreneur. You have to know how much, and okay, I was gonna say how much you're willing to how much you're willing to invest versus lose. Like if I put this money into you, this is what I want in return. Like I have put my people in trainings, and this is what I expect to see from these trainings. Because you've gone into this, this is what I want to have on the back end. So I will say, even in entrepreneurship, you have to have that checklist of I. This is what it is. This is what I expect. This is what it is. This is what I expect. And like currently now, I'm working on an operations manual because just because you say it don't mean it's real. And somebody told me there's a lot I'm going into, like you have to go like with the vision. Like the vision is important. So something that happened very recently, and I don't know if people are going to notice or not, but Hatima Farms changed their slogan. That's me. I changed the slogan. So before, Hatima Farms was proudly local, proudly sustainable. And I'll be honest with you, me and my partners, we 100% believe in that. We are proud to be what we are. We are absolutely happy to be in Gashur. We're absolutely happy to do what we do in Rwanda. And we chose to fight the long fight. We are proudly local and we are proudly sustainable. Issue one and two. First issue with sustainable is that's what we want. But we both are partners that have other expectations, and we cannot 100% see the day to day. And one thing I have noticed, and this is small, but it really irks me, is even in my own yard in composting. Literally every week, I will find something in the compost pile that is not supposed to be there. We've gone through videos. I've given exams. Like I've done all this stuff. Last week it was cooked cassava. Cooked cassava does not go in the compost pile. So the first piece of it is when we talk about being sustainable, I realized here's the second thing that happened. The second thing that happened is I happened to be at the farm on accident. I happened to be at the farm on accident when I realized that the village gives, and I think this is something Rhonda does, give they automatically fumigate certain areas so there's not bugs or anything. When this happened, I'm in the back and the people who work for me opened up the door and let them fumigate. They did not come and check in with me. They did not do anything. And not that you have to check in, but what I recognized is fumigation is not organic. I cannot control 100% of everything for me to know that is 100% sustainable. I can't put that on our vision because I don't like to lie. So, and then here's the other piece that I've recognized is that in my team and some of the conversations that we were having, it was, I need you to be focused on the rabbits. I need you to be focused on this. I need you to be focused on this. And then when I went to go type up our business plan again to kind of put it there, I recognized that in the business plan, I never said we need to be focused on this. So what I've recognized is that my hustle and grind in my mind that works in five different ways is saying one thing, but my people might be hearing different things. So I need to make it clear and known what we're about. So the new slogan of Hatima Farms is it's all about the rabbits. It's all about rabbits. It's it. Every decision we make, it's about rabbits. Everything we do, it's about rabbits. Whatever we produce, it's about rabbits. Whatever we preach and talk about, it's about rabbits. Whatever our workshop is on, it's about work rabbits. Because like somebody came in and asked me about mango tree infection, I spent 30 days, 60 days dealing with mango trees. That had nothing to do with rabbits, and it off vision and off kilter. And so that is not what the focus is. So the first piece of what I'm trying to say, God, I'm hot, is that if you're going to become an entrepreneur out here, you need to know, lock down, hold, like you need to hold like Boo Thing from the 90s, like the one that got away. No, 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 no way. No, no, no way. I'm living without you. Like you need to hold to your vision and purpose. You have to be able to be like, I'm going to ride or die, that this is going to happen. And you have to be ready to, um, just a second. You're going to have to be able to fight for what you believe in. You have to fight for your rights, and you're going to have to be the person that's at the front or the forefront of being able to make those decisions. So, number one, I'm going to sit here and say being an entrepreneur is hard. We gloss it. It's hustle hard. I'm an entrepreneur. I do this. I do this. No, being an entrepreneur is hard. It is hard. It is not going to be a cake in the walk. You're just not going to open up a restaurant or open up a nightclub or open up something and it's just going to be. There's going to be paperwork that you don't know about. There's going to be processes that you don't know about. There's going to be different entities that you just do not know about. You're going to learn. Being here is a crash course, and if you're not humble to learn, you're going to get smacked in your tail. If you're not humble to understand, you're gonna get hurt. Like the issue that we're dealing with now is market research because um we are putting a new product out. Well, before we turn around, and for me, it's like before I get all proud, I'm like, I'm gonna product and people are gonna come. I realized because of all the stuff we've done, no, I'm going to have to entice you. I'm going to have to do this. I might have to do this. I might have to do the Amazon trick because I have to get a product out in front of you that you want. But it's the same concept of like okay, I'll say this one. When I learned when I eat calamari, I love me some calamari now. I love calamari. I first had calamari when I was a 10-year-old little girl. How did you get me to eat calamari when calamari is like squid or octopus something? Nobody told me about it. Nobody told me what it was. They just put something in front of me. And if you had told me what it was, or you told me anything, or I didn't need it, my life was fine without it. I would have never stated, I need to have this in my life. There's a big difference. So I have to basically create something that you need, you want, and you seek. So how do I do that? Yeah, it's a hustle, it's a game. So you have to figure out those pieces. So I'm going to go back to um, innovation is hard. I've said it so many times. I'll say it again. If you are thinking differently than the world around you, I do not care what people say about loving um, Steve Jobs, or these people are innovative, these people are creative. Oh my gosh, y'all do not have no love for nothing different. And so people who think differently, people who do differently are scorned, they're laughed about, they're talked about, and it is hard to keep up the self preservation you have in order to keep going. Now, this is a very sensitive topic, but I'm going to use this as an example. Um, Kanye West. I know, sensitive Kanye, but before Kim, I am a fan of was it BKK Kanye West. That's before Kim Kardashian Kanye West. I was one of the people that had his underground mixtape before he was even popping, before he was signed with whole all this other stuff. Kanye West is one of the reasons why we love him is because he was relentless about himself. He was relentless that while everybody else was rapping about being in the streets, drugs, drinks, and everything, he's going to rap about when he was in college, and he's going to rap with these different things, and he's going to learn to produce the beats and everything else like that. He was relentless about creating a lane for himself. He was innovative in the rap world because nobody else was talking about the things he was talking about. Or if they were talking about those things, most Def Common, they did not have the type of beats or music that people were getting heard of on national radio. They were really underground rappers. And so he was very dedicated to his lane, being innovative, and he had enough ego and pride to keep going. Now, the issue for me is it took you too far, baby. Bring that back. Bring it back. There was a space where everybody loved you. Come on back. But I'm not going to get into the Kanye West. What I'm saying is that to be innovative, you almost have to be crazy a bit about the passion that you see. You have to, because nobody else is going to believe you. Like Damien, and I think Damien said no. Damien said, please stop what you're doing because you're about to ruin the evidence style that we're used to. But Damien had told him no. Jay had told him cute. Like he raps about this, like listen to his big, like he's sitting here talking about, and he didn't. Let's pay attention to the truth. He did not blow up. He did not get 100% serious until the accident. Through the wire, he recorded that in the hospital bed, and that's when he was like, I'm going to do it myself. And he took all the money he made producing and put it into his own self. Do you understand the amount of crazy that takes? The amount. crazy that takes. And then you're going to sit there and say, I'm going to come over here, Africa, and I'm just going to create a business. And it's just going to be paved in gold. It's not. It's not. And I'm not here to fuss at you about it. I'm not here to say it's a bad day. I'm here to say, one, you got a friend in me. But I don't want you coming over here saying it's going to be easy. I want you over here ready to strap up, be ready, and say, okay, this is what we're going to do. And why am I doing it? So I'm listening to a lot of Eric Thomas right now. And Eric Thomas has, and he's like, like, he's saying, not as what is your why? He's saying, like, what are you creating? I don't It's almost like what is your why, but he's like, you don't hustle for the money. Money comes, money printed. You hustle for what you're trying to produce from the money. Like, I'm hustling because my mother deserves peace. You know what I'm saying? I'm hustling because my staff deserves security. I'm hustling because JP, who y'all don't know, who we just put into this private school, is starting to learn, and he needs something to look forward to and be able to have. He needs to have something that's called a future. I'm hustling because the children in Gashore, when we read a book about what you dream at night, out of the 80 kids that came, 74 of them said chickens. Oh, okay. Cool. So now I'm hustling to build this literacy center, which I'm going to talk to you guys about in 2 to 3 days. I'm hustling to put spaces in where people can have opportunity. That's it. I'm hustling. Um, Girl, I thought that's it. Lady J's Black Eyed Peas. I was ready. I was ready to start eating. Okay. Um, but the hustle, so the question is when you're hustling, and I'm going to sit there and shout out to some people, and forgive me if I put people, but like my homegirl, she's hustling because of nutritious food. Well, my other homegirl's hustling because of organic smoothies and health style. One of them's hustling because of entertainment and business. One is hustling for their family and all these other things. Like, the hustle is real. But the thing is, it's not just about making money or trying to seem like you're living this life or doing these things. It is, how far will you be in the trenches? How far will you grind? How far will you sweat, swab, and get to wherever you need to be so you can turn around and just make it to the border of the mountaintop? I'm talking about right here. Like, it's just not about climbing the mountain. You got to go through all of this just to get to the border, because now you can see the mountaintop, and now you have to walk and climb up there. But there's a lot of stuff that you've been through to get there. And so that's one reason for me why it's like the hard work that or you knew, if you are a survival of the atrocities that's happened to us in our life, you're a survivalist. You know how to survive. You know how to do. You do realize that all the stuff that happened with us in slavery and everything else that happened to your ancestors, that you persevered through it. So it's not in our destiny to turn around and just have the diamond. We're not there yet. That's not the generation that's brought for me. A lot of people are creating that now for their children. I'm just not there. I'm in the generation that must create. So I get to take all of that talent, all of that hard work, all of that effort, all the things that they learn, and fuel me to putting that energy not in somebody else's plantation or into somebody else's dream or into somebody else's sharecropping issue or into somebody else's bank. But now I'm over here in a space where I can take all of that energy and now put it into something that I've dreamed about, I've built, and we can create. So, what do I do with that destiny and tenacity? So, I'm going back all the way to, it's not going to be easy. It is damn hard. It's hard. It is so hard. It is. What makes it hard is there's going to be self-doubt, and then y'all make it hard because you be like, oh, they crazy, the talking, the la, 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 la. It is going to be hard because the truth of entrepreneurship, nobody turns a profit in the first 3 years, dude. The reality, it's going to be, I have to knock on new doors. I have to go knock on doors. I have to go find new things. I have to get out of my comfort zone and become something else. Like your girl is up here chefing. I ain't trying to chef, but in order for me to do the things that I want to do, oh, I'm going to be up in the streets with the salt, pepper, and the paprika and all that other stuff chefing, because there's things that need to be done. because if somebody else can't do it, you're going to have to be the one to do it. Oh, you should multitask, you should delegate. No. And I'm sorry, you can guys, y'all can hate on me for right now. No, you cannot. Right now, not in the beginning. I can't give you my vision unless your vision is producing my vision. Period. Unless your purpose is to produce me, I can't give you my vision because your vision is just to do the work and be done. I don't know what motivates you, so I can't give you all of what I have. I can give you a piece. I can give you the Instagram. I can give you this little bitty piece here. I can give you this little piece there. But in the beginning, oh, you grind. In the beginning, you work. In the beginning, you sweat. And in the beginning, you take your small victories and you blow them mugs up so big because it's going to be what fuels you. It is going to be what absolutely fuels you. So I could turn around and make this about banking. I can make this about here. I'm just telling you that the streets ain't paved in gold. The streets ain't paved in gold. The- Man, I almost said it's the rose that grew from concrete, baby. Um, and I gotta go for real. I gotta go for real, for real. Um, so I'm only doing this to shout this out. Like I said, at this point in time, I know about 12 of us out here that in the past year have created businesses, and we're all in very different places. But I can tell you this: every one of us, I take that back, like 80%, because you are your own worst enemy and you're also your own best friend. You could pick whichever way that goes. So, the amount of research that we had to go backtrack to do, I do think that that's real. I think that a lot of people who I see that are really doing it have humbled down. They've found people around them that don't root for them, but they because I got to say, like, I was trying to rhyme and I'm not there. But it's not about rooting for somebody. I don't need a cheerleader. I need somebody who is willing to make sure that when I'm down in the dirt and in the dust and the mud and the thick of it, they got a hand out to help me remember which direction the path is. Those are two. I got somebody who's staying planted on my path. So my mother is awesome. I'm gonna try to trick her and get her on here with me. Right now she's got some friends over and they doing their whole little slumber party thing, and it's like I'm running around dealing with that. But no, she's fine. She's not an entrepreneur. Best life, best life. She is not an entrepreneur. But if you want to claim that role and title of being an entrepreneur, there's so much more than just that word. I implore you to understand the definition. Like, I'm gonna be that nerd real quick. I'm gonna be that nerd to look up the definition of entrepreneurship because I'm a nerd. Ah, the activity, big word, the activity of setting up a business. So the work of just setting a foundation, the work of just setting up a business and taking on its financial risk in the hope of profit. Child, 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 child. In the hope of profit. Same thing. The other one, this is another one. A promoter in the entertainment industry. Baby, you gonna entertain. You gonna entertain. An entrepreneur is someone who has an idea, who works to create a product or service that people will buy, as well as an organization that supports that product that they work to create. They take on most of the risk and the initiative for the business and is often seen as the visionary or innovator. Entrepreneurship definition is not pretty. Here's your four type of entrepreneurs. This is schooling. Coasting. There's a coasting type of entrepreneur, which I am going to say stay away from because they let opportunity come to them. Conservative, very moderate use of resources, aggressive, all in, proactive, innovator, revolutionary, attains growth through innovation. You got to fight. Woo, you got to fight. You got to fight. You got to fight. Okay, so shout outs to everybody. I do need to leave. This has been 30 minutes of mumbling and jumblings and doing what we need to do. I am coming back because there are other things happening. But put in the comments below, like, subscribe. We're gonna keep on talking. But like I said, and if you guys have something specific you want me to get into, I will get into it. But I had to talk a little bit about investing and building a business. It's not Instagram. It's not luxury. It is work. It is it's like having quadruplets, maybe more. I think I just disrespected the mamas out there by even like it's so much more. I know. I've said hello to them too. Actually, they're back where I don't want to say where they started, but I know a lot. And I lived in the UAE, so I know exactly what they're doing. And shout outs to them for making a decision that's best for their family. I absolutely love that for them. And they're unapologetic about that. They sat there and told y'all the truth. They are unapologetic. They travel the world. And then they have told you they are a family and they make decisions just for that. I got to go. Got to work. Peace.